Hi guys, welcome. Today we're going to be applying C6 Hydro Pro to my 2015 Mercedes. So there are two things that you're going to need to do this. And realistically, like, you should probably polish the car beforehand, do a paint correction. If you're going to do it, right? So correct your paint, do your polishing, panel prep. Those things are like understood, I think. But there are two specific things to this coating that you need. Number one, the coating. Number two, C6 app, which is Adhesion Promoter Polish. First thing that we're going to do is unbox this. I'll show you what it looks like. So when we open it up, we get an applicator pad, a bottle of C6 Hydro, a C6 sticker, a smaller protected by C6 sticker, and then I am a C6 Ceramics member. Customer name, vehicle, application date, gold card. It's pretty interesting. So this is something that you could leave behind for your customer, realistically, just so that they could have a record of when it was done. And I'm sure that it would help with, if you were warrantying this or something along those lines. For me, I'm just a guy, right? I watched a couple videos on this. Ivan was nice enough to send me this. This coating was sent to me free, we'll say that. But I used a variety of other DIY detail products during this video that I did buy. My panel prep spray, my gold standard polish, multiple pads and tools and different things like that. So this one box was sent to me for free. That's what it looks like. It is a 30 ml bottle, C6 Hydro. Hydro is a permanent lifetime coating designed to create the ultimate in hydrophobics. Applying this is going to be a two-part process. First, we are going to spread app, Adhesion Promoter Polish, on the car. And then we are going to apply C6 Hydro. In order to spread app, you really need a random orbit or DA that has a 9mm or less throw. Now this is an 8mm, 5-inch random orbit DA. This is an SPTA. This is like $70 on Amazon. If you don't have one of these, you could use a random orbit sander, like this Milwaukee that I have. And I have used this in the past for app. It does works very well. It's just a little bit noisier and a little bit clunkier. So I decided for this time, I was going to pick up this little guy. Now in the DIY detail videos, you'll see they have a yellow one that's corded that they use all the time. I think that one's like $70. This was like $80 on Black Friday. And it came with a couple pads and a case and a bunch of stuff that I didn't really use. But you really just need one of these red waffle pads from DIY Detail and C6 app. Now you're going to apply a very small amount, like the smallest peas that you've ever seen, is how it's been described to me. Just like that, 2 of them on your pad. And then we are going to spread this on the car. Now I'm using the word spread, not the word polish. So what we are looking to do is put this on the car similar to how you'd put like a carnauba wax on your car. You're not really like going back and forth and running at high speeds and digging into the paint. This isn't a correction process. This is more of an application process. So we're going to apply this to the car. This thing's nice and quiet, which is good for video. And I am basically going to do the entire trunk. All the way across. Like that. And what we'll see is a very thin coating. And all we're doing is spreading it out. And this thing has a lot of vibrations, but it does work. Okay. And we are going to remove the residue with a dry microfiber towel. Now I normally use a dry microfiber towel, but Ivan typically teaches a rinseless, dampened microfiber towel. So this is a little bit different as well. So we'll go over this whole section just like that. Now I have one quick thing that I'm going to do, which is reinstall my rear emblem. And I remove this because one, I'm changing it from chrome to black. And two, I didn't want to have polish all over the place on my brand new emblem. But I also don't want to have to try sticking it to a coated car. So we're going to, this is my new emblem, and we're going to remove. Now, if you are replacing a star on a Mercedes, one thing that you should note is that there is a line here and it curves in this direction. On the back of the star, you will see that this one has on this point, there is a curve. On these points, there are not. So the point with the curve goes up because technically the pins are all in the same spot and you could fit it however you want to. And then we're going to push this in like that with those alignment holes, and then push that in like that and make sure it's on nice and tight. Now we're applying this coating assuming that your car is ready for it. In my case, I did a paint correction, I did a decontamination, I did a variety of things. There were videos on those. We are now ready for the coating. And then here we have our GLK350. I'll apply that as well, because again, I don't want to have to fight with it. That might get removed in the future, I don't know, but they came together in a kit, so I decided to just get them both. I have my gloves, I have my C6. I opened it up and got a little bit all over me. So we're going to apply a couple drops here. The recommendation was about 10 to start, and then we're going to apply this on the vehicle. That. And normally you don't want to put that much on the pad, but this is my first time on my first pad, right? So we want to make sure that the pad isn't just absorbing everything. Get over the top of that. Okay. And we're looking for this to flash, and we are starting to see some horizontal stripes in it as it's drying. And the instructions that Yvan gives are, when you go to buff it off, if you get resistance, then it's not ready yet. So we'll just give it a minute here, and then we'll work on removing it. Okay, so it should be immediately slick, and it is. Okay. Flip over our towel. I always think of coatings as the towel is in eighths. So you could use two different towels. That's kind of the Jamie method, right? They have the level 1 and the final level. It's like, it's a pretty drastic difference, honestly. So that's the application process. I'm going to go through and do the entire vehicle. Same process, app followed by C6. I'm probably going to go around the car and do all of the app, and then go around the car and do all of the C6. So we're almost done with the coating. And the last panel that I have to do is the hood. So I just thought, I'll come back on camera, do this on camera, and just talk with you a little bit about the application process, what it's been like, I've done the whole car at this point. So, you know, I realize that this is a professional coating, right? It's sold as a professional coating, marketed as a professional coating. And sometimes it's like, well, why? Why is that a professional coating? And I think that DIY detail makes the entry point a little bit easier for an installer, if that makes sense, for somebody to get it. You know, I'm just a dude, right? I'm just a dude at my house. Now, I have a lot of experience applying coatings, and I've been on camera applying coatings, so I can, you know, point to that as, hey, you know, I clearly know what I'm doing. And I've been able to do that with others before, like I have Armor's Pro coating before, and, you know, stuff like that. But I don't think that this is something that you need to be afraid of. So if you're considering testing this out, trying this, applying it for yourself, I think just about anybody could do it. Now there are a couple good videos on DIY Detail's website on how to do it. There's one that they did on an Audi S5. There's one that they did on was it a Ram? Man, I can't remember. There were a couple that I watched that were specific to this, and they guide you through the process really well. You know, DIY Detail, their whole thing is about making detailing easy, right? Like that's their whole brand promise. I think that they really deliver in that. So the application is pretty easy. You put it on, you let it flash, you wipe it off. I've used a bunch of different towels through this process. Normally I used to use the Pearl, the Rag Company Pearl. And I like those. I think they're great towels, actually. I've been messing around with the ones from the House of Rags, the level 1 and final level. And those are excellent. They're nice and thick, and I don't know, I think they're super nice. I think they're some of the nicest towels you can get at this point. So I kind of used all of those up. I went through 6 towels and 7 towels, and I have a couple pearls left. So we're going to apply on the hood, and I'll do that on camera again. What I found is this has a really good working time. So you can do bigger sections, if that makes sense. So just kind of figuring out my segments using natural body lines. So this has a body line in the center. So I'm just kind of going over that by like half an applicator. There's a body line right here. So again, half an applicator. And then we can go down here. And we can really do larger panels without having to worry. So I like to do up, down, and then a left, right, just a quick crosshatch pattern. I will say my bottle hasn't behaved the best. I've had some drips on the outside of it occasionally through the process. But it's because the opening on the top is actually fairly large. Most of the droppers are pretty small. On this one, it's fairly big. So, there we go. So we've got that half of the hood done. So basically what I've been doing is take 2 sections of towel. I do one, then the other. So in this case, this has a Rag Company logo. So flip it over. So basically what I do is logo side, opposite side, then I flip it over and do the other 2. And those are the types of things that you need, just a system, right? And your system doesn't have to be the same as my system. It just, you should have a system. That's how you keep track of like, oh, I did this section, or I didn't do that section, or the back gate, worked my way forward all the way to the front fender, then worked my way forward on that side, all the way to the front fender. Then I went across the roof, back to front, and the bumper, and I saved the hood for the camera because the hood is the one that shows best on camera. Give this a second to dry. One thing I will say about this coating is it's definitely a little bit more fumey than most of your consumer coatings. So I would say you probably want to do it in an area with ventilation. You probably want to do any coating in an area with ventilation, but this one's fairly strong. And you know, a lot of the other coatings I've done are not. But again, it is a professional coating, so there's probably a reason for that. We're only applying a little bit in between coatings. And you might ask, why am I using a different applicator, right? Because I have this, this Armor applicator now. And it's because my DIY applicator, the red one, I got too close to one of the black trim pieces on the top of the window, and I left a big black streak on my applicator. So I just decided that I would swap it to something different, and I didn't have another one of the Armor applicators. So here's my non-logoed side. Give this a minute. And you could kind of see it rainbow and flash. And like I said early, if Ivan said if it's grabby, it's not time. But if it comes off smoothly, then it is. So now I've done all of my sections with this towel. That towel's dead. And then this one, I have one more to go. So that'll be perfect. And we can do the rest of the hood. My weather's cooperating too. If I had super high humidity, super high heat, direct sunlight, you know, any of those things, like this wouldn't make sense. So that's part of it too. You know, I'm like 65 degrees today, probably 40% humidity is my guess, something like that. Our humidifier's set at 61 and it's been running, so probably somewhere around there. All in all, I will say the application's been enjoyable. It's definitely taken me a little while. And that's not because of the coating. I mean, one, I'm taking my time, going back over, making sure I don't have high spots. But two, with app, you have to kind of go over all of the areas first. So, you know, it is an extra step. That being said, the point of app is to open up the pores and make sure that the panel that you're working on is accepting of the coating. But this entire time I haven't had any high spots. Not one. It's just been really good. It's leveled very easily. I left a little spot on one of the windows. I came back, I hit it, cleaned up pretty easily. I did it on the glass on the roof as well. So really the only thing I haven't done is the windshield. And that's because I've got a special video in mind for the windshield. It's going to be dedicated to Eddie. I think the title of it's going to be, "Is GLK Indeed Wild?" Or something along those lines. Because you know me, I'm boring. But GLK's pretty impressive. I did hit the roof rails with it. They were kind of spotchy. They're like a black, they're made of metal, but they're like a black, I almost want to say like a powder coated finish, but it's probably not powder coat because there's no texture to it. They're just like black, like satin black paint. I went over the whole thing and they actually look great. They came out really good. So the windshield I still have to do. And then the valance down here, like the plastic, there's been a lot of weathering on that. So I think one of these days I'll pull that out. It kind of sits in the bottom of the windshield. I'll unclip the whole thing, pull it out, and then we'll redo that with some Restore and Protect. And yeah, I think, I mean, I'm done at this point. I'm done. Now that being said, it's 5 o'clock. I think I started around noon. So it's taking me some time today, but you know, I'm not rushing. I ate lunch, I ate dinner. You know, I went inside for a drink. I've been listening to podcasts all day, recorded a couple videos, added some emblems to the back, you know, did a headlight coating. So a variety of things have happened. To do one of these coatings, and this goes for any coating if you haven't done one before, one of the things you really need is you need like a 10 pack of these coating rags, and you need to be prepared to throw all of them away when you're done. So what I normally do is I keep a stack of them. I've got like a set of water barrels in the back there. I keep a stack on there, and I'll clean up stuff that's like really dirty with it. You know, like if I was changing my oil, I might use it to like wipe off an oil filter or something, because what happens is the ceramic that's on these crystallizes, and then it'll start scratching stuff. So you can't like rub a car with it. You can't pick this up tomorrow and rub a car with it. Right now it's okay, but once it hardens, you know, you'll just kind of screw up your paint. So, you know, I'll use it for cleaning up messes. If somebody spills something on the Swiss tracks or something, like I just dropped the Monster over there, you know, or like if I'm removing glue from a laptop or something like that, I'm spraying some Tarex on it. Like, these are perfect rags for like really dirty jobs. And honestly, I don't do dirty jobs very often, so I end up with enough of those that like I have these dark green towels that are like my multi-purpose towel, and I really haven't pulled those out very much in the last year or so, because I've just kind of always had a stack of used pearls, or, you know, I have a pluffle over there that hit the ground. Like if I'm rinseless washing my car and a pluffle hits the ground, it's going there, you know, or the orange, I have an FTW over there as well, because again, that like hit the ground. These polish rags you can totally wash. Oh, here's another pearl. Yeah, so I think 10 is a good number. You might not use them all. You can totally save some if you don't. But it's like, you just think through, it's like every rag can do, if you think of a rag as quarters, there's 2 sides to it, so there's 8 quarters. And every section you use 2 of those. It's like one whole rag for the hood, and then quarter here, maybe half here, half there, quarter up and over, half, 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 half. Like, you kind of go through them. A professional, I'm sure, would use less product, less rags, less applicators. They'd be more efficient. They'd get it done faster, you know, all of that stuff. I've never claimed to be a professional. I am reasonably good at it because I've done it half a dozen times for my own cars that I actually care about, but you know, I'm not a professional detailer. We're gonna wrap this for the night. Today is Wednesday. Clean up the garage, get her car in, leave this in here overnight so it can dry, and then I will wash this on Saturday so that I can finish this video up and show you what the hydrophobics have been like on hydro and stuff. But I will say, like, you know, touching the panels that I did super early, it is very, very slick. I like it a lot. I can tell already that I like it. I mean, obviously we'll see how long it lasts. I have some work to do on the windows. That's why I didn't hit the windows. I did the top roof because I've already polished all of them, but the side windows, like, they need some work. There's water spots up in the edges and stuff, so I have to, you know, deal with that. So it's been about a week and a half, and I've got to say that I'm really impressed with the slickness and the gloss that came from the DIY detail coating, or the C6 Hydro coating, which is obviously a DIY detail company. We are going to do our first wash of this car. Like I said, it's been about a week and a half. The car has been outside the entire time. There's got some mud and stuff like that on the side of it, not a lot, but a little. And we're just gonna see how it does. And we're gonna clean it with Incredible Suds, because why not keep it in the family? And then go from there. We'll see how the drying action is and how this actually performs. All right, so we did a foam and rinse. We're gonna do a foam again. Applying the products is easy. It wasn't a bad experience. You need a short throw polisher or a random orbit sander, either one. Again, link in the description to the one that I used here, which is a cordless. It was like 70 bucks. I've got to say though, the end result is excellent. The car has great slickness. It's got great gloss. I keep finding myself looking at it in the last week and a half that it's been since I've done this. The car just came out awesome. I think it looks fantastic. First wash went really well. I purposefully got some mud on the car, and drove it around a little bit more than I normally would, just to kind of make it as challenging as reasonably possible, at least for me. I don't really get my cars dirty. I don't have winter here. All of those things are still what they are. But, I went over to the dump with it. I drove around in the mud a little bit. I just tried to get some stuff all over it. And it did a good job. The hydrophobics were really, really good. The beading behavior was awesome. I was able to get the car 80% dry with the air blower. And the worst parts were the windows, which I didn't put a coating on, and I'm planning on doing a coating on those in the future. So, really, I used one rag that was a 16 by 16 to dry the entire car, and it's still not even wet when I'm done. I don't even know that I could wring it out. There just isn't a lot of water on it. And today it's 65 and sunny. It's a reasonably nice day, but it's not overly hot or anything like that. I didn't let it wait a long time before drying it off or anything to let the sun dry it. I had no issues with spotting. I have no issues with high spots. I had zero high spots. And when I was done with this, I shot Yvan a message on Instagram, and I was like, it almost seemed too easy. I expected it to be harder because it's a pro coating. And I just expected it to require professional skills or some sort of difference between applying that and applying other coatings. And he said, if a professional's going to use this every day, we want to make it as easy as possible. I'm like, I guess that makes a lot of sense. So, going from C6 Hydro Light to C6 Hydro, I didn't really notice much of a difference in terms of application. It was easy to apply. I obviously use a different applicator pad. If you want to use the DIY detail applicator pads, I'd probably buy a couple extras because I got black stuff all over one of mine from one of my window trims and, ended up tossing it out just to not contaminate the paint with a bunch of black stuff from the trim. If you want to use the applicators that I used, I'll put a link in the description. I get those from Armor. They're technically auto fiber mini applicators, mini savers, I think they're called. The flash time for me was pretty quick, 30 seconds, a minute, something along those lines. Apply it reasonably, count to 10, wipe it off. Wasn't really that big of a deal. Here we have mid 60s. We have probably 40% relative humidity on a normal day in the wintertime, which is where we are right now. Maybe a little bit drier right now than normal. We've got kind of the Santa Ana winds thing going on. Yeah, I've got to say I'm really impressed with it. Now we'll see how long it holds up and how well it holds up. The last car that I had that was outside was the Honda Passport, and that lived outside for about a year, and the coating was pretty dead after a year. Our Mercedes, on the other hand, which is inside the garage every single day, doesn't get driven as much and never gets used in the weather, that's got 2 years on CSL XO, and it's still performing like it was when it was installed. So all in all, I'm really happy with the product, with the application. I have no high spots, none. I purposefully made a high spot on a window just so that I could see what it was like to deal with it, and I was able to polish it right off, but really, like, it's a pretty easy coating to apply, and it works really, really well. So if you have the opportunity to try it, I'd recommend trying it. It's excellent. I probably have enough to do another car, maybe not a whole car, but I only did one coating, so I probably have enough to do a whole nother car if I was, careful with it. I asked Yvan if it makes sense to do a second coating or anything like that, just because I have half a bottle left, and he said not really, you won't gain any benefit from it. So, okay. I really enjoy it. It's definitely a coating that I would consider buying with my own money. It's definitely a coating that I would love to use again, and I think the user experience was really, really good. So we'll see how long it holds up, and I'll keep you guys up to date on it. And if after a year it's still really solid, I'll probably polish it off and do something different just to continue to test other coatings. But I don't see a reason why you wouldn't use this. It has the gloss, it has the slickness. If what they're saying is true about the longevity, I don't see a reason not to use this, especially like on a daily driven car. Just the ease of washing and ease of drying is insane with a coated vehicle. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you're having a great day.